good day to you. This is Todd, and I am just a regular dude walking in the Word. We are in the Beatitudes, and we are continuing on through the Beatitudes in the Sermon on the Mount in the book of Matthew. Today, I want to read, this is going to be great, verse 9 of chapter 5. It says this: "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Now you're thinking to yourself, peacemaker, who is a perfect example of this? Well, if you have your Bibles, you can turn in your Bibles to 1 Samuel 25. I'm going to read pretty much all of 25 today. 1 Samuel 25, because this is the story of David, Nabal, and Abigail. Okay? You're going to see in this story, David wasn't so peaceful. Okay? Nabal was anything but peaceful, but Abigail brought peace to the whole situation. Okay, she was a peacemaker, you might say. And so she turns out to be the hero of this story. All right. It says this in 1 Samuel 25, starting at verse 1. "Now Samuel died, and all Israel assembled and mourned for him. And they buried him at his home in Ramah. Then David moved down into the desert of Paran. A certain man in Moab, who had property there at Carmel, was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he sheared in Carmel. His name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. She was an intelligent and beautiful woman, but her husband was surly and mean in his dealings. He was a Calebite." Okay? I don't have to say much about it. Just the Bible describes her well and him well. "While David was in the wilderness, he heard that Nabal was shearing sheep. So he sent 10 young men and said to them, 'Go up to Nabal at Carmel and greet them in my name. Say to him, long life to you, good health to you and your household, and good health to all that is yours.'" And David is trying to promote peace here. Okay, starts off that way. "Now I hear that there is sheep shearing time. When the shepherds were with us, we did not mistreat them, and the whole time they were at Carmel, nothing of theirs was missing. Ask your own servants, and they will tell you. Therefore, be favorable towards my men. Since we have come at a festive time, please give your servants and your son David whatever you can find for them." When David's men arrived, they gave Nabal this message in David's name. Then they waited. Nabal answered David's servants, "Who is this David? Who is this son of Jesse? Many servants are breaking away from their masters these days. Why should I take my bread and water and the meat I have slaughtered for my shearers and give it to the men coming from who knows where?" All right. Not a great thing to say to David's men. David's men turned around and went back. They didn't put up a fight there. They just went back and told David what's going to happen. When they arrived, they reported every word. And David said to his men, "Each of you strap on your sword." So they did, and David strapped his on as well. About 400 men went up with David, while 200 men stayed with the supplies. 400 men are going to be going after this one Nabal, who has him and his servants are shearing sheep. All right, kind of way overkill. Well, and that's what they plan on doing, killing. One of the servants told Abigail, Nabal's wife, "David sent messengers from the wilderness to give our master his greetings, but he hurled insults at them. Yet these men were very good to us. They did not mistreat us, and the whole time we were out in the fields near them, nothing was missing. Night and day they had a wall around us the whole time. We were herding our sheep near them. Now think it over and see what you can do, because disaster is hanging over our master and his whole household. He is such a wicked man that no one can talk to him." All right. The servants even knew that they're fixing to be wiped out. Abigail acted quickly. She took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 dressed sheep, 5 seahs of roasted grain, 100 cakes of raisins, and 200 cakes of pressed figs, and loaded them on the donkeys. Donkeys, plural. That's a lot of food she just loaded up. All right. Then she told her servants, "Go on ahead, I'll follow you." But she did not tell her husband Nabal. As she came riding her donkey into the mountain ravine, There were David and his men descending toward her, and she met them. David had just said, "It's been useless, all my watching over this fellow's property in the wilderness, so that nothing of his was missing. He has paid me back evil for good. May God deal with David, be it ever so severely, if by morning I leave alive one male of all who belong to him." Oh, he's fixing to wipe them out. When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed down before David. With her face to the ground, she fell at his feet and said, "Pardon your servant, my lord, and let me speak to you. Hear what your servant has to say. Please pay no attention, my lord, to the wicked man Nabal," which is her husband. "He is just like his name, which means fool, and folly goes with him. And as for me, your servant, I did not see the men my lord sent. And now, my lord, as surely as the Lord your God lives, and as you live, since the Lord has kept you from bloodshed, and from avenging yourself with your own hands, may your enemies and all who intent on harming you, Lord, be like Nabal. And let this gift which your servant has brought to my lord be given to the men who follow you. Please forgive your servant's presumption. The Lord your God will certainly make a lasting dynasty for you, my lord, because you fight the Lord's battles, and no wrongdoing will be found in you as long as you live. Even take your life, and the life of my lord will be bound securely in the bundle of living by the Lord. But the lives of your enemies he will hurl away as from a pocket of a sling. When the Lord has fulfilled for my lord every good thing he promised concerning him, and has appointed him ruler over Israel, my lord will not have his conscience the staggering burden of needless bloodshed or of having avenged himself. And when the Lord your God has brought my lord success, remember your servant." David's reply here. David said to Abigail, Praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, who has sent you today to meet me. May you be blessed for your good judgment and for keeping me from the bloodshed this day, and from avenging myself with your own hands. Otherwise, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, who has kept me from harming you, if you had not come quickly to meet me, not one male belonging to Nabal would be left alive by daybreak. Then David accepted from her hand what she had brought to him, and said, "Go home in peace. I have heard your words and granted your request." Perfect example of bringing peace. She comes and she intercedes, really, for her husband, and tells him the truth, what her husband's like, and brings peace and says these kind words to David, bringing peace to the whole situation. Otherwise, that whole family was going to be wiped out. Every male in that household was going to be wiped out. But she brought peace. Let's see what happens here as a result of this. When Abigail went to Nabal, he was in the house holding a banquet like that of a king. He was in high spirits and very drunk, so she told him nothing at all until daybreak. Then in the morning, when Nabal was sober, his wife told him all these things. And his heart failed him, and he became like stone. Probably had a heart attack, okay? Like, oh no, wife, what'd you do? Okay, about 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal and he died. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, "Praise be to the Lord who has upheld my cause against Nabal for treating me with contempt. He has kept my servant from doing wrong and has brought Nabal's wrongdoing down on his own head." Then David sent word to Abigail, asking her to become his wife. His servants went to Carmel and said to Abigail, "David has sent us to you to take you to become his wife." She bowed down with her face to the ground and said, "I am your servant, and am ready to serve you, and wash the feet of my Lord's servant." Abigail quickly got up on the donkey and, attended by her 5 female servants, went with David's messengers and became his wife. David also married Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they both were his wives. But Saul had given his daughter Michal, David's wife, to Petiel, son of Lash, who was from Gilom. Bottom line is here that Abigail, at the end, became David's wife. He was like so impressed with her And with her peacemaking in her negotiating here, really, it's saving lives, that he was like, I want her to be my wife. Okay? So awesome story. And this is such a perfect example of what we talked about. Blessed are the peacemakers. And Abigail is a perfect example of that. I encourage you, look for ways you can be a peacemaker, okay? And this stuff it's not like, oh, I think I'm going to promote peace today. No, there's going to come a situation on you that becomes very volatile, and you have a choice to make. You can either escalate that situation, or you can bring it down and become a peacemaker with that, okay? Thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue talking about the Beatitudes. Lord's blessing to you. I'll see you then.